Hey, it's Meatball.
And Mark.
And this is the Rocker Morning Show on demand from 107.7 RKR.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
107.7 RKR is the Rocker Morning Show with Meatball.
And Mark Frankhouse.
And a little earlier than we normally have him in the studio, but Jake from Presidential Brewing.
Here I am.
Man, you just appeared this morning.
It's what I do. Yeah, exactly. You guys should really watch your door more carefully.
That's what we get for propping it open. No,
Right.
This is a big day for you. Obviously, we do first beer of the weekend. We're doing it tomorrow. You'll be back in the studio after 9. But we brought you in here today because this is rather big. This is something that you've been working on for a few years now, and you got a big initiative that you're pushing today. And this is going to help a lot of people in the community here who have that interest in doing what you did, and that's opening up a brewery, which I got to imagine is not an easy thing.
It turns out that I never had a manual, and so I guessed wrong a lot along the way. And yeah, so part of the inspiration for this was just reflecting back on when I knew literally nothing, having never worked in a restaurant or a brewery, and decided to open one of these things. I'm like, okay, well, let's just see how this works out. And my hope is I wrote this book in order to kind of introduce people to different ideas, things that can kind of get you started, because it's really intimidating from the outside looking in. If you've never done something like this, it feels overwhelming. It feels like there's too dang much to think about, that you can't possibly cover all of it. And the reality is that if I could pull it off, I believe that most people could too.
But you're right. Like, you didn't have like a starting guide. And so somebody out there who's thinking, I'd like to start a brewery, but I have no idea where to even begin. This is like a perfect guide for that, because I mean, it's coming straight from someone who was in their position before. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the book is called Shifting Gears. It's the ultimate roadmap to crafting your own legendary brewery or restaurant. And the whole point of this book is to, first of all, the kind of makeup of this book is it's comparing this process of opening to driving a stick shift vehicle. And there's different gears in a stick shift, and neutral is kind of a place that a lot of us probably don't proceed past. Neutral, I had this great concept. I think it'd be super cool. I've also done absolutely nothing to get closer to it.
Right.
And so neutral is a place that a lot of ideas form, but they don't really go past that. And so this book kind of helps give some practical steps that'll get you to move from neutral into first gear. And then what do I do when I'm in first gear? What does that look like? From there's a second gear, there's a third and a fourth gear. And what is that progression? What should I be doing when I'm in each gear? And how do I know when it's time to shift into the next one?
So how long have you been working on the book?
I started writing this last year in November. Okay. And yeah, it's wild that is just all done now.
Right.
And yeah, I hear it's coming out today for release, and I'm just like, I don't know how I was entrusted to do this, but here we are.
Where was the inspiration to write the book? Was that something that came to you, or somebody presented to you?
No, that's something that probably came to me. And I think what it comes down to is I have a heart for helping people to accomplish something. And I think part of it is, for me, the first 4 years of running this business were really, really, really hard. Really hard. Years 5 and 6, incredible. Like, game changer. I love that we get to do this now. And my hope would be, if anybody out there is trying to do the same thing, how do I fast forward that first 4 years for that person. What if we could make that a year and a half? That's really hard. What if we could, bring that down to something a lot less? Because those first 4 years were just tough.
There is a lot to be said, though, like in that trial by fire, essentially, or trial by brewing, I guess, for you, where it's like, you did learn a lot in that process. And I have to imagine, too, you can go back and look on some of those experiences and be like, yeah, that was a failure, but it was a fun failure.
There's always some of that. There's always some of that. And we keep having those, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I just I think for 4 years I felt the weight of the world, and I don't enjoy that, or I didn't enjoy that period, and I don't imagine there's many people that do. So how do we get from this cool idea that sounds like a lot of fun and then get through that phase? Because that's going to exist. You're going to have a hard time for a while. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
But how do we use things that I've seen work? How do we avoid things that I know don't work? And there's a ton of stories in there about presidential that you'll get to read, our origin story, but more than that, just things that some of the silly shenanigans that happen at a business like this one.
And again, you mentioned that there is this middle period where it can be very tough. And without a guide like this, I can imagine it's easy for people to just go, F this, I'm out.
There was a day that I almost did that, and it's I'll just quickly touch on this story. I had nobody working in the kitchen, and I was in charge of food that I didn't even know how to make, and I had to clean the fryer. And I was cleaning the fryer, and I didn't know how to do that either. I did it wrong, and what happened is it was raining this curtain of grease water in front of the nozzle to turn off the gas. And I just remember thinking, well, it's just me and Kaylee in here. I think we could get out of here pretty quick. But instead, I grabbed a glove and we took care of it. But yeah, you're going to have those moments where you're like, geez, what did I do? Why am I here?
But again, this is a pretty helpful guide. Again, it's changing gears or shifting gears?
Shifting gears.
Shifting gears.
Yeah, it's Shifting Gears, the ultimate roadmap to crafting your legendary brewery or restaurant.
You're having an event today with this, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'll be down at Presidential tonight, and yes, people have asked me if I could sign their book, which is the weirdest thing. I'm not the guy that you ask to sign books, but sure, yeah.
But it's also available digitally as well, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna have this on Kindle for sure. The whole Amazon platform. So Kindle and paperback it released, and so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm hoping that this reaches a lot of people, and if you love presidential brewing, there's some fun stories in there too that I think kind of just point to how we ended up where we are today.
I got a couple road trips ahead of me. Do you have it in an audiobook too?
Oh, I tried to look at audiobook. That is way more complicated than I thought it would be.
You can just read it yourself,
Yeah, I tried that. I'm a quasi audio engineer on the side, and I started recording it, and one of the dumbest things happens. You're starting to read and you're one paragraph in and you realize that you're changing the words that you wrote. Like, this was good enough. I wrote this. I'm changing everything, and then you find yourself breathing a lot. You're like, I don't do that when I talk.
You're not supposed to breathe when you talk.
Yeah. Oh, it was weird.
Well, if you want more information on this book, you can check it out. We got it up here on the 1077 RKR app, and head out to Presidential Brewing Company today. Check this book out, grab some food, and who knows, you could win a $20 gift certificate tomorrow on first beer of the weekend. Jake, congratulations, brother. So happy for you, and we're looking forward to checking this book out, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
I just want to point out, too, we're coming up on a year of doing first beer of the weekend with you, man.
Yeah, so I basically started writing this book when we started working together. That's interesting.
I wonder where that inspiration might have come from.
Dedicated to meatball.
That's right.
Apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
No, seriously, we enjoy working with you, man. It's always a pleasure. It's fun, and we get to bring beer and happiness to people around the entire area. So thank you so much for this, man.
Thanks, guys.